I'm Christina Onnested. Israel launched airstrikes on Lebanon and continued bombarding the Gaza Strip as a conflict broadens following days of violence over Jerusalem's most sensitive site, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where Palestinian Muslims locked themselves inside in protest of Jews seeking to slaughter a goat at the temple in an old ceremony. In the occupied West Bank, a Palestinian man shot and killed 2 women near an Israeli settlement just hours after Israel's airstrikes. Israeli settlements are considered illegal under international law. The White House is blaming the deadly and chaotic withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan on President Joe Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump. The Biden administration publicly released a 12-page summary of the results of a government review, asserting Biden was severely constrained by earlier decisions made by former President Trump. Chris Gilbert reports.
It says President Trump's administration lined up the plan with no vision or consensus on how to actually conduct it. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby says ending a decades-long occupation was the right call in the end.
We can more squarely address the most pressing challenges of our day. America is on a stronger strategic footing, more capable to support Ukraine and to meet our security commitments around the world because it is not fighting a ground war in Afghanistan.
I'm Chris Gilbert.
The United Nations says it will not accept a Taliban decision to bar Afghan female staff members from working at the agency, calling it an unparalleled violation of women's rights. The statement came a day after the UN said it had been informed by Afghanistan's ruling Taliban women would no longer be allowed to work for the world body, expanding its ban on women working for NGOs. The United Nations says several UN national female personnel have already experienced restrictions on their movements, including harassment, intimidation, and detention. Tennessee's Republican-dominated House has voted to expel 2 black Democrats and declined to expel a 3rd white Democrat who all took part in a gun control protest in the House chamber days after a school shooting left 6 people dead, including 3 9-year-old children in Nashville. Thousands of people flocked to the Capitol to support the Democrats, cheering and chanting outside the House chamber so loudly noise drowned out the proceedings. "You are fascists," they chanted.
You are fascists! You are fascists!
Pacifica's Christopher Martinez has more.
The expulsion resolutions say the Democrats went to the Speaker's well and shouted, pounded desks, and led chants with a bullhorn, creating a disturbance in the legislature. That demonstration came after the March 27th school shooting in Nashville that killed 6, including 3 9-year-old children. Republican Gino Bolso of Brentwood
effectively conducted a mutiny on March the 30th of 2023 in this very chamber.
Democrat Justin Pearson of Memphis, one of the 3 threatened with expulsion, says there was no disruption. Lawmakers were in recess, and the day's business was completed.
But there is something that tells me it is not the rules being broken. It was what we were advocating for that folks have gotten very upset about. That we were advocating for people who have been murdered in our communities.
Democrat Justin Jones of Nashville called the Tennessee House Republican supermajority drunk with power and a model of authoritarianism, with Thursday's legislative action the climax.
We called for you all to ban assault weapons, and you respond with an assault on democracy.
The 2 vacant seats are now in the hands of county officials, who could reappoint the expelled lawmakers. I'm Christopher Martinez.
The expulsions have sparked condemnation from the White House. President Joe Biden called them shocking, undemocratic, and without precedent. In a statement, he also urged Congress to pass an assault weapons ban. The Supreme Court is allowing a 12-year-old transgender girl in West Virginia to continue competing on her middle school's girls' sports teams. While a lawsuit over a state ban continues, the justices refused to disturb an appeals court order that made it possible for the girl, Becky Pepper Jackson, to continue playing on her school's track and cross-country teams where she regularly finishes near the back of the pack. Dissenters Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas would have allowed West Virginia to enforce its law against Pepper Jackson. A new rule proposed by the Biden administration would prevent schools and colleges from enacting outright bans on transgender athletes, but it would allow certain exceptions to promote fairness or reduce injuries. The proposal sends a political counterpunch towards a wave of Republican-led states that have sought to ban trans athletes from competing in school sports. I'm Christina Gina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.